Hey there, Barkley Brookers. All right, Multicultural May continues with a story about the Egyptian culture. This book is called The Arabic Quilt, an immigrant story, and it is by Aya Khalil. A quilt story. Okay. Kanzi, Habibti, you're going to be late to the first day of school, Mama calls. I'm coming, Mama. Kanzi stuffs her notebook into her backpack and quickly but carefully folds her quilt, the special one Taita made in Egypt. Breakfast is delicious. Egyptian fava beans, homemade French toast, and watermelon with feta cheese and mint. Zachariah has watermelon juice dripping down his chin. He looks happy. I packed your favorite lunch for you, a kofta sandwich, Baba exclaims. Shukran, Baba, Kanzi says. But secretly, she wishes her Baba would pack her a peanut butter and jelly sandwich instead. Her family has just moved to this town. She doesn't know anyone. She doesn't want to be different. In the car, Mama sings along with a song on the Arabic radio channel. When they pull up to the school, Kanzi turns down the radio volume. Mama gives her a confused look. Good luck today, Mama says. Bahabek. I love you too, Kanzi responds. In class, Mrs. Haugen asks all the students to share 3 facts about themselves. When it is Kanzi's turn, she says bravely, I am Egyptian American, I love to swim, and I love to write poetry. And then she sits, looking down at her desk. At lunchtime, Kanzi is surprised when Mama walks through the door. Habibti, you forgot your lunchbox. Habibti, like the Hobbit? Isn't your name Kanzi? Molly snickers. Her classmates laugh with her as they walk through the cafeteria. Mrs. Haugen sees tears rolling down Kanzi's cheeks. What's wrong? She asks. Molly made fun of what my mama said, Kanzi replies. Oh, Kanzi, being bilingual is beautiful, says Mrs. Haugen. Don't let anyone make you feel ashamed. You are special. If you are bilingual, it means you speak 2 languages. Now, you could be multilingual too. Bilingual is 2, trilingual is 3. Multilingual means you can speak more than that, and there are some people who can speak many, many languages. That night, as Mama puts leftover sherbet ads in Kanzi's lunchbox, Kanzi gently pats Mama's back. Can you please pack me a turkey sandwich instead? Before bed, Kanzi writes a poem as she hugs her quilt, which smells like Taita's house. The next day, Molly says, Mrs. Haugen said I hurt your feelings. I'm sorry I laughed at your mom's language. It sounded funny. It may sound funny to you, but that's only because you don't speak Arabic, Kanzi says. She feels a lump forming in her throat. My parents say that learning different languages makes a person smarter and kinder, she blurts out. Okay, whatever, Molly says, skipping away. Mrs. Haugen calls Kanzi to her desk after lunch. I found this notebook on the floor, and it was open to a lovely poem, she says. I was describing my Taita's quilt, Kanzi says. When I visited her in Egypt, she gave it to me. My Taita only speaks Arabic. Mrs. Haugen smiles. That is special. I would love to see your quilt. Can I bring it to school? Kanzi asks. Sure. Bring it tomorrow, Mrs. Haugen says. The next day, Kanzi unfolds her quilt in front of the class. Her heart is pounding. This is my quilt that my Taita in Egypt made, she said. That's cool. I want to make a quilt like that, Deshawn says. Maybe we can all make one for our classroom, Claire shouts. Mrs. Haugen nods and smiles. On Friday, Mrs. Haugen makes an announcement. I have an exciting project for us all to work on. Kanzi's mom is here to help us make a quilt of all your names in Arabic. As Mama steps forward, Kanzi thinks how beautiful she looks. Shukran for welcoming me here, Mama says. Kanzi and I will write down your names in Arabic, and you will copy your name on your own quilt piece. There's a connection to one of the other stories that we read about the proudest blue. If you decided to look at that one, to listen to that story, it was about a girl on her first day of hijab. And Kanzi's mom is also wearing a hijab. It's a head covering. Molly is not enthusiastic about the project. Who cares about Arabic? We live in America. My mom says we should only speak English. In response, Mrs. Haugen starts writing words on the board. Algebra, coffee, lemon, sugar. Does anyone know what these words have in common? She asks. They come from Arabic words, Kanzi whispers. Mrs. Haugen nods. Learning other languages besides the one we grow up with helps make the world a friendlier place. We can speak non-English languages and still be American. I wonder what my name looks like in Arabic, Brianna says. Kanzi and Mama write down everyone's names. Neat! Shukran! Amina exclaims. Everyone copies their Arabic names onto sheets of colored paper, and then they decorate their papers with glitter and jewels, and they place them on the table for the glue to dry. On Monday morning, you will see a beautiful class quilt hanging in the hall, Mrs. Haugen tells them. Kanzi is nervous when the bell rings on Monday morning and the kids file into the school. What if the quilt didn't turn out nicely? The quilt hangs on the bulletin board outside Mrs. Haugen's classroom. The colorful papers with their Arabic names have been cut into different shapes and sizes, and all the pieces are stapled together. Kanzi stands in awe reading names in Arabic. Claire, Leah, Molly, Ivy, Jack, Lucas, Brianna, Chang, Deshawn, Sam, Angela, Lily, Amina. Teachers and older students stop to look at the names, trying to figure out whose name is whose. Wow, look at those beautiful letters. They're like drawings, they say. There's all their names here in Arabic. And I know we have some friends in our school who speak Arabic. When I look at these, I don't have any idea what that says, but some of you are looking at those and saying, I know what that says. That was a really cool project, Kanzi. Shukran, Kanzi's classmates tell her. I'm sorry I made fun of you, says Molly. I didn't realize how important a different language is. Can you write my mom's name in Arabic? I want to give it to her as a gift. Okay, Kanzi says. Do you want to go swimming soon? I'd love to, Kanzi nods as Molly hugs her. Leaving class a week later, Kanzi stops to look at the Arabic quilt one last time. Right across from it, she is surprised to see another collage of names in a language she doesn't recognize. These are my classmates' names in Japanese, Kura says. Our teacher was inspired by your classroom's idea. She asked me to help write everyone's name in Japanese. Aren't languages a beautiful thing? They can truly unite us. Kanzi smiles in agreement. So there's the names in Japanese. In her room that night, Kanzi holds Titus' quilt tightly as she writes a poem for her parents. Shukran, Mama and Baba, for always encouraging me to be proud of speaking a different language and speaking it out loud. Languages can unite us together like a quilt, so I will always speak my languages without guilt. I will never be ashamed to speak in this language that is so unique. Bahebek, Mama. Bahebek, Baba. She is writing with her Taitas quilt. And that is her poem on that side. And in the back of this book, there is a glossary of Arabic words, and it says Habibti is like saying, like sweetheart or dear. It's a term of endearment, means my love. Taita is grandma. Shukran is thank you. You might have been able to use some of your decoding skills while you were reading the story with me, and you might have been able to use context clues. These are good language arts, English language arts words, terms, concepts, ideas that you might be learning about in English with your classroom teacher. And so this might be a good book that you might want to borrow one day at Barkley Brook, or maybe next door at Brookside, my second graders when you get there in third grade. I hope you enjoyed that one.